everybody, it is Steve, your friendly neighborhood lawn gnome. Welcome back to another episode of Stats, Trends, and Picks over here on That's Comical. And if you're watching and it happens to be a Wednesday, happy new comic book day. Well, we have done it, everybody. A half of 2024 is now officially behind us. Can you believe that we're just about hitting July? As a matter of fact, when this video gets posted, it probably will already be past Independence Day. I don't really know when this video is going up, but we'll definitely be in July. And I will specifically say that if I was very positive about what was happening in the first half of 2024, I am only going to say that 2024's second half is going to be even better. And I think it's also because of the fact that everything that I have been saying about the Western comic book industry in general really is coming true. The independent labels, with the biggest one heading the way, Image Comics, is without a doubt becoming one of the most successful comic brands in the country right now. Between what Geoff Johns is doing with the Ghost Machine universe, and what Robert Kirkman is doing with the Energon universe, not to mention what Todd McFarlane is continuing to do with the Spawn universe, which is now everly expanding, we are just heading into such a crazy, exciting 2024, because I'm going to go straight into the numbers, guys. Take a look at what's happening right now. Look at everything from January to June, and what do you notice? What you notice here is the fact that the Image Comics, as well as the other conglomerate, which includes Dark Horse, Boom Studios, IDW, etc., they keep getting larger and larger spots in regards to my overall monthly purchasing. DC has pretty much stayed constant, and I think it's going to stay within this number frame due to the fact that we have a big summer event coming, though a lot of people don't call it a big summer event because not that many people are talking about DC Absolute Power and what is actually going to come out of Absolute Power. But look at Marvel. At one point in time, Marvel was actually doing very well. And look at the dip that it has taken from 14 books in January to 9 books. As a matter of fact, I'm noticing it on a weekly basis. On the last New Comic Book Day of June, I had one of my most largest comic book hauls that I had seen in a very long time. 18 books! And there was only one Marvel book in that bunch. That's insane. And I don't see this, honestly, changing anytime soon. And when we take a look at the percentages, 25% went to DC, just a little over 36%, almost 37% went to Image Comics. The overall conglomerate was over 20%. And Marvel went from 33% in January and slowly started to decline. And I am just going to tell you guys, I've already taken a look at what July is going to be. I'm not posting any numbers just yet, but I am just going to say, especially when we take a look at the graph, you're going to see a very different look here. I mean, it's already starting to take shape. Look at where Marvel was on the red line and look at how far it's gone down towards the half point of the year. Take a look at the purple line, which was Image. Neck and neck with Marvel and DC, took a little bit of a dip, and now look at how it is. It's literally pulling away from all the other three groups, with other slowly creeping up. And I'm not surprised about that, because I am very excited for a lot of what's going on in the indie circuit. I am seeing myself buying more books from Dynamite than I ever thought I would. And that's just because of the fact that companies like Dynamite, Mad Cave, Boom Studios, they're giving me titles that are just speaking to me. And I'm also very happy to say that when it comes to me picking up most of these titles, I'm not disappointed. I am excited to read these new issues. I am excited for what the stories are going to be. And I'm just really excited for what July is going to give me, as well as the rest of this summer. So how did we fare in regards to the last month, which is June of 2024? Well, I'm definitely going to say that one of the few things you are going to notice, not a single Marvel or DC book was predicted to take the top spot, and not a single Marvel or DC book has actually taken a top spot at the end in June. Now, I'm not going to say that there's bad things going on as far as what I'm reading. I mean, I still love Philip Kennedy Johnson's Hulk series, but I think that might be coming to a close much sooner than anticipated. I am still very much enjoying Mark Waid's Batman Superman World's Finest series, but now I've heard that Dan Mora is going to be leaving the book soon. And who knows what's going to happen with that in general. But when we take a look at the first week of June 2024, I was anticipating going over to IDW and giving it to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Alpha, the start of the brand new run of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle run that's going to be headed by Jason Aaron. And I liked the Jason Aaron story, but this was a bait and switch. There was a much larger story in this book that is going to be part of a different comic book series in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles universe, and along with another title that was given to us on Free Comic Book Day, I will say, outside of Jason Aaron's story, this book was a super letdown, which is why I am very excited for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 in July, but I am not excited for any of the other Ninja Turtles titles. But what did take that top spot? Well, it went to Space Ghost, issue number 2 by David Pepose over at Dynamite Comics. The first issue was a big surprise, and the second one was no different. This book is a roller coaster ride. This is some of the most fun that you will read in a comic book right now, and that's what I keep saying. Dynamite is firing on all cylinders, guys. There's some titles that I am very excited for the rest of the summer, and I'm still very much into Declan Shalvey's Thundercats. I really have enjoyed this series, and Space Ghost is no different. I am so excited for issue number 3. For the second week of June, I thought it was going to be a tie, and I was going to give it to Dick Tracy, number 2, over at Mad Cave Studios, and the second book of Scotty Young's new miniseries Ain't No Grave over at Image Comics. I always get excited for possible ties, but when they don't happen, as long as one of the books remains, I'm happy. And it went to Mad Cave Studios, Dick Tracy number 2. This is a fantastic read. If you are a Dick Tracy fan, this is for people that grew up with Dick Tracy, even if they haven't seen the 1990 Warren Beatty film in years. It's going to spark your love for Dick Tracy once again. This is a mature noir story, and as someone who is not a big fan of noir, I loved this second issue, and I cannot wait for issue number 3. For the third week in June, I was planning to give it over to Uncanny Valley number 3 by Tony Fleecs. And yes, I expected another great comic, and I received a great comic, but I was really surprised by the fact that it didn't take the top spot, and it ended up going to IDW. I predicted the wrong Ninja Turtles issue for my top spot this month, and I ended up with a Ninja Turtles comic book in the third week of June. And it was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles The Last Ronin 2 Re-Evolution, issue number 2 by Tom Waltz and Kevin Eastman. This was a wonderful, wonderful read. I'm so happy that this book did end up in my top picks of the week, and unfortunately it's going to be a while until the next issue comes out. It's not coming out until October, and I'm really upset about that, if I'm being perfectly honest, but I am very happy that this book ended up becoming my top pick because I have been enjoying The Last Ronin series, and there has been a lot of hype around The Last Ronin lately, especially considering the fact that there have been rumors that there's going to be a live-action rated-R film based on the original 5-issue miniseries. If that's going to be the case, I'm really hoping they do it right, as long as Kevin Eastman is a producer. And I am hoping that issue number 3, even though it's coming out in October, is going to be one of my favorite reads that week. Because The Last Ronin 2, they always say the sequel doesn't always do as well as the initial series, but it's surprising me, and that's why it's here at my top spot. And for the final week of June. So it was only one correctly predicted book. And you know what? To a certain degree, because I predicted a tie and one of the books ended up in the top spot, I'll give myself a 50-50 for June of 2024. Not bad. But this was my largest haul. 18 books, so many great reads, so many things to be looking forward to in the following weeks because of where I was left with some of these issues. And it ended up going to the book that I thought it was going to be. And that, of course, was over at Image Comics. James Tynion IV makes a triumphant return to the Department of Truth with issue number 23. I ate this book up fast. It was such a great read. I'm glad that we're going to be taking a look at an interesting, creative version of the Kennedy assassination and how it's going to be wrapped into the Department of Truth story. This is just exciting, and it's just making me all the more excited for the return of Department of Truth now and seeing what's in store for the next issue. So that's basically what happened with me in June. So what are we going to be looking forward to in July? Well, I'm going to say too much. There's a lot of exciting stuff happening. For the first week of July of 2024, we've got the start of Absolute Power by Mark Waid and Dan Mora over at DC. We've also got a new Chris Claremont miniseries called Wolverine Deep Cut, so I am excited to read that as well. And not only that, we have the third issue of Space Ghost by David Pepose over at Dynamite, which I'm really excited for. But there's a brand new book that's coming out that I definitely am excited about because I love this writer. And I'm talking about Free Agents #1 by Fabian Nicieza and Kurt Busiek. Now, Kurt Busiek is one of my all-time favorite writers. He is responsible for Marvels, which is hitting its 30th anniversary this year. We're hoping to do a discussion of that on the channel this year. We also know him as the genius behind Astro City and my favorite Superman story of all time, Superman's Secret Identity, with artwork by Stuart Immogen. But Free Agent seems like such an exciting ride, and I'm really hoping that Kurt Busiek does it again, because he is such a fantastic writer, and I don't expect anything less from him. For the second week of July, I am actually going to give it to a Marvel book, even though Marvel is not much in my hauls lately, but I am enjoying the Ultimate Universe. As a matter of fact, last week's only Marvel book was Ultimate Black Panther #5 by Brian Hill, and I loved it a lot. It was one of my favorite reads of the week. So I am going to give it over to Marvel Comics and the Ultimates #2 because the Ultimates #1 was a great read, and I am just expecting this one to be a good read too. And also, we've got Ain't No Grave #3 coming out. We've got the second issue of Gotham by Gaslight, the Kryptonian Age, and we also have Jeff Johns with Geiger, so who knows, maybe it won't be the Ultimates, but we even have Transformers #10 coming out, so it's going to be an exciting week that week, but even though it's a much smaller haul than normal, I am pulling for the Ultimates. I would like to see at least one Marvel book in the Ultimate Universe take the top spot. For the third week in July, there's a lot of good stuff coming. We've got a very good DC book that there seems to be a little bit of hype around, and that is the follow-up to Dark Knights of Steel, of course, by Tom Taylor, and also this time Jay Kristoff is going to be co-writing it, and that's Dark Knights of Steel All Winter, a 6-issue Elseworlds miniseries, and even the conclusion of Jeff Lemire's Fish Flies over at Image with issue #7. But I am actually going to give it to a Dynamite book, and I'm going to be giving it to the Powerpuff Girls issue #1 by Kelly Thompson. Now, I know a lot of people don't care much for Kelly Thompson, but I really do enjoy her Image series Black Cloak, which is coming back, but it's also because I love the Powerpuff Girls. I used to watch the cartoon, I loved the animated film from 2003, and I just think that Kelly Thompson is going to do a good job. She's going to have so much fun writing this book, and like I said, Dynamite's firing on all cylinders right now. They're just giving me so many great books, along with this one and Johnny Quest coming out in August. It's an exciting time to read some Dynamite books, so I really am expecting nothing but fun and charm and cuteness from Powerpuff Girls issue #1. Oh! And did I mention that it is a 5-week new comic book month? So with the 4th week of July 2024, there's a lot of stuff to be excited about. We have the first book since The Big Game over at Mark Millar's Miller World over at Dark Horse Comics. We got Nemesis Rogues Gallery, 1 of 5 in a brand new miniseries. We have Jason Aaron's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 finally coming out. It was actually supposed to come out earlier in July, and it got postponed. We also have the first of the final 3 issues of Ram V's Detective Comics run, which I have been very much enjoying, and even a brand new Spawn Kills Every Spawn. If you've read Spawn Kills Everyone as well as its follow-up, I'm sure you're excited for a new 5-issue miniseries of this adorable version of Spawn. And we even have Tony Fleeks over at Image Comics giving us the end of the first Feral story arc with issue number 5. But I'm going to give it to another big series that James Tynion wrote that's making a big comeback. It is the follow-up to DC Black Label's book, The Nice House on the Lake, the 12-issue miniseries, with a new 12-issue miniseries called The Nice House by the Sea. I don't know what we're getting in this, but all I know is that I am very excited for it, and I'm so glad to have this story back as well, along with the Department of Truth. And that leads us into the last week of July of 2024, where, yes, we have some really good books coming out. I think it's going to be heading towards the finish line. It's going to end up being Ultimate Spider-Man 7 over at Marvel by Jonathan Hickman, as well as the Department of Truth issue number 24 over at Image by James Tynion IV. But I think I'm going to be giving my top spot for the last week of July of 2024 over to Boom Studios and the final issue of Ghost Lore by Cullen Bunn, issue number 12. I loved this series. I am so sad that it's coming to an end, but every issue was exciting, and this is definitely one of the best reads that I read in the last couple of months. And knowing that I am hoping that it's going to end on a high note, because Cullen Bunn is also doing some really good things all over the place. I enjoyed Monsters Are My Business over at Dark Horse, and I just read issue number 1 of Gatchaman over at Mad Cave. Very fun, very exciting. Ghost Lore is definitely one of his more heavier stories, and I'm really hoping that it ends well. And that is going to wrap it up with another episode of Stats, Trends, and Picks. Please leave a comment in the box below. Let me know what some of your best reads of June of 2024 were. Did I miss anything? And what are you looking forward to the most in July of 2024? Have a safe and fun Independence Day, everybody, and I will see you in the next one.